So I walked in, I was like, I thought I saw it.
Happy birthday, boy.
Thank you, brother.
14th council meeting. I'd like to call it to order. Can everyone please rise for the flag salute? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing while our Deputy Mayor Karen Yu leads us in prayer.
Tonight's prayer is from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Heavenly Father, help us to walk together, pray together, and live together until that day when all God's children, black, white, red, and yellow, will rejoice in one common band of humanity in the kingdom of our Lord. Amen. Silence. This week our island lost another gem. Stacy Cora, age 50, lost her long battle with health issues on Saturday. Stacy grew up in Brigantine. She was a graduate of Holy Spirit High School and Rowan University. She taught for over 28 years in the Brigantine school system, and she also taught CCD at St. Thomas Church. Stacy will be sadly missed by her husband Guy and their 4 children, Joe, Jake, Guy, and Gia, along with her 2 sisters and 3 brothers. Stacy's life celebration will be held at St. Thomas Church on Friday at 9:30, followed by a mass at 11 o'clock. Thank you. Please be seated.
Lynn, can you read the Open Public Meetings Act announcement?
This is to advise the meeting notices covering this meeting have been sent and posted as required under the Open Public Meetings Act.
Thank you, Lynn. For the swearing-in ceremony that was supposed to happen tonight, we're going to delay that until February, and that's at the request of the mayor. Jim, any need for an executive tonight? No, Mayor. Thank you. We need our approval of our January 4th, 2023 council meeting minutes and executive session. Second. All right, we have a motion and second. Questions or comments? Seeing none, can we have roll call?
You? Yes. Lettieri?
Yes.
Haney?
Yes.
DeLucre? Kane?
Yes.
Reardon?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Next up, we have our public comment. This is on agenda items only. Anybody wishing to be heard on any item on the agenda, please come up, state your name and address for the record. All right, seeing no public comment, we'll close the public portion at this time. Next up, we have ordinance number 1 of 2023, which is a public hearing and adoption. And this is an ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limit and to establish a capped bank. At this time, can we have a motion second?
So moved.
All right, at this time, we'll open it up for a public hearing. Anybody wishing to be heard on this issue, please come up and state your name and address for the record. All right, seeing no public participation, we're going to close the public portion. Are there any council comments? All right, seeing none, can we have roll call?
You?
Yes.
Lettieri?
Yes.
Haney?
Yes.
Kane?
Yes.
Reardon? Sarah?
Yes.
Do you want to vote on the number 1, the cap? Unanimous vote is yes. Motion carried.
Ordinance number 2 of 2023, which is an introduction, and this is an ordinance amending Chapter 61, Salaries and Compensation of the Code of the City of Brigantine, pursuant to NJSA 48:9-165, establishing the salaries and wages of certain officers and employees of the City of Brigantine, County of Atlantic, State of New Jersey. Do we have a motion second?
I'll make that motion. Second.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, can we have roll call?
View. Yes. Lettieri?
Yes.
Haney?
Yes.
DeLucre? Kane?
Yes.
Reardon?
Yes.
Mayor Sarah?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Resolution 2023-18, and this is appointing Edward Stinson as municipal complex engineer, and this is in a not to exceed amount of $17,500. We have a motion and second.
So moved. Second.
Questions or comments? Seeing none, can we have roll call?
View. Yes. Lettieri?
Yes.
Haney?
Yes.
DeLucre?
Yes.
Kane?
Yes.
Reardon?
Yes.
Mayor Sarah?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Resolution 2023-19, and this is authorizing award of contract for emergency repairs to a generator. And this is by Penn Power Systems, and this is in a not to exceed amount of $10,322.22. We have a motion second.
Second.
Questions or comments? Seeing none, can we have roll call?
View. Yes. Lettieri?
Yes.
Haney?
Yes.
DeLucre?
Yes.
Kane?
Yes.
Reardon?
Yes.
Mayor Sarah?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Resolution 2023-20, and this is a resolution by the City of Brigantine authorizing the award of contract for a structural engineering evaluation services for the existing lighthouse located at 34th Street Circle, and this is to Beck Engineering BT in a amount of $16,200. We have a motion second.
Second.
I think one of the big things we're trying to do with this is just to take a look at like what are the service needs of it. We know that there's some repairs that need to go on down there. We're going to have a professional take a look to give some idea to the city about what we need to do to make sure that we maintain the license. Are there any questions or comments from council? And that is a good point. I'm glad you brought that up. Ideally, we would like to get the repairs and stuff to the lighthouse done before the county comes in and does their roof repairs, but that all comes down on the time. We are still in the process with the county of, I guess, a redesign of the circle, fixing the drainage in the area of the circle. So we would like to try to get our work done before they do theirs. I think there's still 6 or 7 months out on the engineering, so we have a little bit of time, and then from there, the county will have to go out to bids for construction. We'll keep people posted as things move forward. Any other council comments? All right, seeing none, can we have roll call?
View. Yes. Lettieri?
Yes.
Haney?
Yes.
DeLucre?
Yes.
Kane?
Yes.
Reardon?
Yes.
Mayor Sarah?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Resolution 2023-21, and this is a resolution to authorize the tax assessor to file a petition of appeals for the tax year 2023. We have a motion and second.
Second.
Questions or comments? Seeing none, can we have roll call?
View. Yes. Lettieri?
Yes.
Haney?
Yes.
DeLucre? Kane?
Yes.
Reardon?
Yes.
Mayor Sarah?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Resolution 2023-22. This is authorizing submission of an application for the DMHAS grant fund for the municipal alliance. And this, I believe, is in the amount of $3,124.38. We have a motion and second. Questions or comments? Seeing none, can we have roll call?
View. Yes. Lettieri?
Yes.
Haney?
Yes.
DeLucre? Kane?
Yes.
Reardon?
Yes.
Mayor Sarah?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Resolution 2023-23, and this is authorizing submission of strategic plan for municipal alliance grant for the fiscal year 2024. We have a motion second.
I'll make that motion.
Questions or comments? Seeing none, can we have roll call?
View. Yes. Lettieri?
Yes.
Haney?
Yes.
DeLucre? Kane?
Yes.
Reardon?
Yes.
Mayor Sarah?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Resolution 2023-24, and this is authorizing inspection services and Doran Engineering for additional gas main replacements and valve replacement, titled EFB Grid 1 and EFB Grid 2. We have a motion second.
Second.
And, this 70,000, this is paid by South Jersey Gas, correct? Not by the city of Brigantine?
Correct.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, can we have roll call?
You? Yes. Lettieri?
Yes.
Haney?
Yes.
DeLucre? Kane?
Yes.
Reardon?
Yes.
Mayor Sarah?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Resolution 2023-25, and this is a cancellation of real estate taxes for a 100% permanently and totally disabled veteran. We have a motion second.
Make that motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, can we have roll call?
You? Yes. Lettieri?
Yes.
Haney?
Yes.
DeLucre? Kane?
Yes.
Reardon?
Yes.
Mayor Sarah?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Resolution 2023-26. If you don't mind, I'd like to read this resolution in its entirety. This is a resolution of the City Council calling for an immediate moratorium on offshore wind development pending a thorough investigation into the unprecedented death of whales. Whereas the mayor and council of the city of Brigantine is calling for an immediate suspension of all offshore wind development activity until a comprehensive, thorough investigation is held by federal and state agencies that confidently concludes that these activities are not a contributing factor to the recent whales deaths. Whereas the marine mammal population has seen 7 tragic deaths of whales on the coast stretching from New York to New Jersey in a brief period of time. Whereas the Brigantine community is heartbroken over the latest young whale to wash ashore in the vicinity of Brigantine on January 12, 2023. Whereas the Brigantine community supports clean energy programs, but seeks to first fully understand the cause of these tragic deaths and what can be done to prevent future losses. Whereas the United States Congressman Jeff Van Drew has expressed his opposition to moving forward with offshore wind projects pending further research of the disclosed impacts of such projects on the environment and fishing industry. Whereas New Jersey State Senator Vince Palestina has also called for a suspension of offshore wind activities until there can be a conclusive determination as to the cause of the recent whale fatalities. Whereas the mayor and city council of the city of Brigantine are of the opinion that offshore activities should be suspended pending further research as to the potential impact such activity has on whales and other marine life. Whereas the mayor and city council joins and supports the approach and statements made by United States Congressman Van Drew and State Senator Palestina. Now, therefore, the mayor and city council state that they affirmatively support the position of United States Congressman Van Drew and State Senator Palestina and endorse and appreciate their efforts in this matter. Be it further resolved that the mayor and city council shall share its expression by forwarding a copy of this resolution to all members of the United States House of Representatives and the United States Senate representing the city of Brigantine and representing the state of New Jersey. Be it further resolved that mayor and city council shall also share this resolution with members of the New Jersey State Senate and the New Jersey General Assembly. Be it further resolved that mayor and city council shall also share this resolution with the governor of the state of New Jersey. Be it further resolved that mayor and city council shall also share this resolution with the Atlantic County Executive and members of the Atlantic County Board of Commissioners. We have a motion second.
Second.
So I'd like to, if people don't mind, I'd like to say a couple comments before I open up to council. A number of environmental groups say that there is no scientific data that shows that ocean wind activities are causing whale deaths. We agree. There is no scientific data, and that is exactly the point we're trying to make. We need more scientific, fact-based data before anything can be confidently determined about the cause of these whale deaths. And until we have that data, isn't it worth pausing these ocean wind projects, which could potentially have huge impacts on our marine mammal populations. And I think an interesting statistic that we need to start to think about is something that's kind of grabbed my attention. And this comes, it was published in NJ.com. This is from the Marine Mammal Stranding Center right here in Brigantine. They stated in our area, we normally see an average of 7 whale strandings per year. That's per year, and this goes back, they looked at a study between 2002 all the way up to January 7th, I believe, of 2023. We've already had 7 whale strandings and 7 whale beachings in a little over a month. It gives a lot of pause to say what's happening, what's going on, what's changed in our ocean, and why all of a sudden are these whales dying. And I know a lot of people are in a rush to kind of move these projects forward, but isn't it worth pausing to take a couple minutes to find out what the research says and what the cause of death is for these animals? And I think, one of my personal things and personal philosophies, it's better to do things right than to do things fast. So I don't understand what everyone's hurry is. So I think it's important for everyone to look at the data, to look at what comes from the necropsies, and take a scientific approach to what's happening. And that's why we, along with Congressman Van Drew, State Senator Vince Palestina, are calling for a pause to all of these wind-related activities until that research and those necropsies can come back and let us know what's going on. So at this time, I'd like to open it up to any council comments, if any.
Mayor, yeah, just going over the resolution, some words that just jump out at you. See the tragic deaths of these whales. And it really is heartbreaking. These air-breathing mammals, the way they communicate, families, they get washed ashore, they cry out for help. And like you said, maybe we don't have quite the exact scientific data, but we do know that whales communicate through sonar and just knowing where they're at and where they have to navigate to. This time of year, this is the time of year they navigate south to the Outer Banks in those areas. And we definitely need to have something done here. We definitely need to put the brakes thrown out. And it's great to see that we have Congressman Van Drew and Senator Vince Palestina, State Senate level, to just, they've been on board for a long time with this, obviously. We all know that. Council here. There's other, not to get off topic just with this resolution, but there's plenty of other methods that need to be explored yet. Also, as far as I'm concerned, with alternative sources of energy and these state turbines. The dawn of our existence, there's been nothing out in that horizon. And quite frankly, the nerve is just dictate that these things are going to go out there, and just everybody's just going to look at it. It's just it can't be taken seriously. Thank you.
All right, if there's no further comment,
Let's start by saying I think vaccine double in first 3 occasions my wife and I went up. So I said the theme for any sea creatures is great. It's naturally evoked when you see something like this happen. And so there's a difference between there not being any data to look at and being data which doesn't feed into a certain conclusion. Offshore windmills in China have been around for decades and have been extensively studied effects potentially from very early stages. They're mapping and examining the seabed through the construction process, through the operation process. And again, this has been going on for decades. And the purpose of that process, or those processes, has always been to gather the data, to make evaluations as to whether structures at any point having planning and construction of the operation are in fact having impacts. And some impacts have been observed, good and bad. drawn a distinction between wisdom and vesting. By the way, that happens every time there's an ancient whale. It does get vested to a process to determine the cause, and they've been gathering that data and evaluating that data over time. I think it's notable too that I've heard, of course, the discussion about this not tonight, that the number of whale agings index has been significantly higher since about 2016. And the significance of that date is that it does predate anything auction. My other question though is, if we're talking about cessation, only cessation of all offshore activity, it's not a determined period of time to gather data, since the data exists already. What is it that has been happening? The actual work that's being done during this period of time, and how are we connecting those dots? And I'm not saying there's not a connection, but you can't start by saying, well, this whale or these whales have died, therefore there has to be a connection to something happening shore. If the person says, no, we're not doing something about what's happening shore. If it's sonar, okay, has there been in the area of this region, has there been sonar testing for activity? What type of situation? Those things are knowable. They go a lot further to determine whether or not at least that has needs to be put on hold to determine the same thing. We don't have that information. And one thing we do know, I'm saying it's not really facetious. One thing we do know is that this whale was struck by a vessel that was in formation. And from the cessation of shipping activities, we know that not because of death, and the others features vessels. And maybe there is a cause of that there. Maybe something else is happening that caused the whale to avoid the ship. Now, I don't know that. Do know is not to call the cessation activities that they are having whales. We're taking a whole different demographic survey, not called cessation of shipping. It seems there's no parallel there. But I would support this. Simply calling the government to do whatever it's in its power to fully investigate what is going on, and probably start with that to find out what exactly is happening in these locations at this time. But to say that stop for quite substantial period of time, based on
So Rick, you did comments, questions in there? So, I mean, the sonic, like, affects of this, where they're trying to find the right foundations to place these wind turbines, I mean, that blasting itself just affects the sonar navigation of the whales. Even if a whale were to hit a boat, it's they're still theorizing many of these things, but at the same time, if the navigation of the whale is thrown off, it just doesn't know where exactly it's going. And this is a very our area here with navigation of these whales is a very sensitive area for these whales in our ecosystem. So I just like to add that to the
Okay, so in answer to one of your questions, Rick, I can tell you that geotech mapping with sonar has started. Permits have been applied for and granted by NOAA, National Atlantic Association, whatever it is. But the permits have been granted for the geotech mapping to start. Now, in those permits, it specifically states that they're allowed a certain quote unquote take, which means injure or kill marine mammals. Up to 106 whales, loads and loads of porpoises, like 600 porpoises, and loads of other sea life. That's facts. Those permits are online. You can see them for yourself. So they know when they were going out and starting this process, they were going to kill marine mammals or injure them. Now, another thing is the sonar they're using is up to 200 decibels. That's louder than a jet plane. That would blow anybody's eardrums out. And what happens is when these mother whales with their pups, they race away from them. So whether they hit a boat, they hit, when you go out 10 miles off the shore, 12, 20 miles off the shore, you're talking about 300, 400, 500 feet deep. So whether they're racing away and whatever, if they hit the side of the ocean or whatever it is, it's been stated there was signs of blunt force trauma to these whales. Whether it was a vessel or not, who knows? All I can tell you is, right now with these two beach whales here in the area between Brigantine and Atlantic City, which they stated both whales had blunt force trauma, supposedly hit by a vessel. December 31st, the fishing basically ended. We couldn't fish anymore. Right now, the only thing you can go out in the ocean for and catch is bluefish. You can catch 1 week fish right now. You can catch tog. 4 tog right now is the limit. So the bottom line is nobody's out there fishing right now. People have put their boats away. We finished our fishing December 31st when we were out there catching sea bass, striped bass, tuna, everything else. So for these whales to get hit by vessels at this time of year when there's nothing in season, nobody's out there, it just seems a little suspicious. I want to say one other thing too. The Marine Mammal Stranding Center of Brigantine here does a magnificent job. They have done a magnificent job forever and ever. I can tell you Sheila Dean is exhausted with what's going on, with what happened this past week up on the beach there with the poor whale that died and was up on the beach there. We have some of the volunteers in the office here. I want to thank Gene and anybody else who's associated with the Marine Mammal Training Center for their volunteer efforts on what you did, because that was an awful thing to have to go through between doing the biopsy, slicing it up, cutting it up, and then to bury it also. But one thing, things are getting said, there's a lot of concern, there's a lot of stress. People are making insinuations that groups are being paid off by Orsted, Atlantic Shores, and some of the other windmill grant companies, which granted, some of the local towns here along our seashore, they have taken money from these people. Some of the groups that were actually up on the beach the other day have taken money from Orsted. One group in particular, Atlantic Marine, I forget the name, they were up there 1.2 million. But I can tell you one thing, Marine Mammal Training Center took no money. No money. And what they said was found its truth like they've always done. So I applaud the Brigantine Marine Mammal Training, and I hope no one accuses them of saying anything that's not true. So that was the initial findings. It takes about 6 weeks for those biopsies to come back. Okay, whether or not they're going to show us anything that sonar caused the death of the whales, we don't know. I can tell you the Navy has done studies. 20 years ago, there's articles out there where initially they said their sonar didn't kill whales. Then they finally did some studies, and it took a little time, but it came back, and it was proven that this Navy sonar did cause the death of sea mammals. So there's a lot of things going on here, and I don't think it's out of line to ask for a pause here to just slow things down and stop the unnecessary deaths of these whales, these poor whales, and God knows what else out there is pass on. So I fully support this resolution, and I want to thank the mayor and everybody else, Fred, and help putting it together.
Bob Shelkoff too. great years that Bob Schultz had. Everybody involved in the Vietnam Training Center. Sheila was excellent employees and volunteers.
I just wanted to say something. Mike, I was out there the whole time striper fishing, sometime in August through to this first week in January. And the entire time I was out there, mostly from about October or November on, there were ships on the horizon. We were not allowed, we can't fish beyond the 3-mile limit. So the closest we could get would be 3 miles. But you could see that they were between 3 miles and 9 miles out. And the ships were huge. At first we thought they were processing ships for the fish that they use for bait and other things. And a lot of the foreign countries fish out there. They have trawlers and netters that net the fish, and then they transfer it to larger ships where they process it. But these ships were much larger. The ones we saw had helicopters on the back. They were bigger than cruise ships. They were huge, okay? And they were going not in one direction. You'd see them in an hour or so. Next thing you know, they're coming back in now they're in a southerly direction. And this has been going on all throughout the time that we're now experiencing these whale collisions, supposedly. We don't know that they're not hitting the whales at this point, disorienting them and then running them over, because they're doing this night and day, okay? So I personally have witnessed it, and other captains have. I've heard it on the radio. What the hell is that ship out there? What's going on? Why are they all around us like this? And people were talking about this back in October, because it's been going on since then. But now all of a sudden during that time period is now where we're starting to see. God knows how many whales haven't washed ashore that may have washed out and they're still floating in the ocean, waiting to get hit. So when they wash ashore, we could say, oh, they got hit by a ship. And for it to be hit by a small vessel, that whale that was on the beach, being even a young mammal, was as big as a school bus. And I know my 30-foot boat would not have survived if I had run into it. And you wouldn't run into something like that blindly. You would see it. Okay? So that's my point. Okay?
Mayor, if I may, I'd just like to say one other thing. You know, we're talking about the whales right here, suspending what's going on for the time being. As the head of the economic development committee here in Brigantine and being involved with Atlantic County and some of the state numbers, people forget the tourism industry in New Jersey is the 6th largest private sector in New Jersey for income. There's over $42 billion in tourist money in tourism annually that comes in. And I can tell you, Cape May County, Atlantic County, and Ocean County all bring over $6 billion a year from tourism, okay? When we figure out what's going on with the whales, and we have 1,000-foot windmills 9 miles off our coast that many people think are unsightly and litter our ocean from Long Beach Island to Cape May, what kind of an effect is that going to have on our tourism industry and the people that come down? And people say, well, you know, you're talking about wealthy, privileged people that come down and are spending their money at the Jersey Shore. It's a lot more than that. A lot of middle-class people, good working people, good union jobs, make their living from tourism. So we have to look at the big picture. Right now, there's been probably over 1.5 billion invested with these windmills between the boat that was built in Denmark to transport the windmills, property that's bought in Salem for 450 million, that's assembling the windmills next to the Salem nuclear plant, property that's been built in Paulsboro for 250 million that's building the base of the windmills. That's great. They're great union jobs. So what are they doing for Atlantic County right now? What are they doing? How many people do? Does anybody in here know anybody who's working out there? I might know one or two, but I mean, we want things that are going to help the economy here in Atlantic County and continue to grow our area along the shore here. So we really have to look at it, take a good look at things on what's going on. And I hope things work out and the right things get done. Why these windmills have to be placed right here in South Jersey when you have industry going on up in the North Jersey beaches, closer to Newark, and that's where the energy's supposedly going anyway. It's not going to save anybody any money. These windmills, clean energy, we all love it, but it's not cheaper energy by any means. And what's the matter with coming down the Delaware River and putting these windmills off the coast of Delaware? I mean, does somebody live down there we know that might not want it in his front yard? But there's a lot of questions that need to be answered, and I hope things get resolved, and either these things get pushed out, these wells get saved, and these questions get answered before anything else moves.
And they're global companies too that we're doing. We have Atlantic Shores is 50-50 between Shell New Energies, which is based over in London, England, I believe, global. They're global headquarters anyway. I mean, they do have American offices, but and then EDF Renewables, they're in either in Paris, France, and it's just a global movement going on here. Yeah, they got subsidiary offices here in the States, but like Mike was just saying, what have we seen in the past? Let's just look at solar energy and just how everybody else has had to chip in to pay for alternative sources when they're used properly and developed properly. But why are other people who are just paying the basic, sticking with basic fossil fuel energy, if you will, why are we subsidizing the solar energy? Everything just seems to go up, just so exactly what Mike was alluding to. It goes up. We hear about all these savings, and it just doesn't happen.
I'm sorry. Bear with me for 30 seconds. I know this won't go. We just want answers. I don't think that's a lot to ask. Whether they were building the windmill project or not, if all those whales wash up in that close of proximity to us, and that many, in that short a period of time, we still want answers. I mean, with today's technology, today's personnel, with today's labs, we can find out what happened in whales. You've got all this money to be able to dump into these projects. I got an idea. When we put it into the labs real quick, we'll find out what the hell's going on. It's not a big deal. You can get the answers pretty quick. When I did homicides, we'd have to wait almost 6 months for lab results. Now you can get them over in 2-3 weeks. So there's no hurry. All I'm saying is we just want the answers. We're going to find out what's going on. Somebody explain to us what's going on. That's all I want. The only frustrating part that I see is that everybody that should be screaming, this place should be packed right now. Where are all these organizations? They've all been paid off for the last 5 or 6 years. Now all of a sudden, they knew this was going to happen, and now all of a sudden there's nobody here. Isn't that a little strange? I'm sorry, that's just the way I feel. That's all I got.
I truly understand that our Earth is in trouble, and we need renewable clean energy. However, at this point, there are too many unanswered questions in regard to these offshore wind farms that have yet to be addressed by these companies. I believe we need to cease the current work that is being done until these questions are answered. It goes back to the old statement, it's not nice to mess with Mother Nature.
And I think there's a lot of varying opinions here on council. But I think the one thing that echoes through everybody's comments, there's just a lot of unanswered questions about what's going on with these projects, what the long-term environmental impacts are, and as Mike brought up, what are some of the long-term economic impacts that come from this? And this is something that I think our community has been asking questions about for a number of years. We've been probably, Brigantine has been on the forefront of looking into the ocean wind projects, getting information, trying to find out what's happening. And that's why you can hear a lot of our council members really know a lot about what's going on from the research we've done, from conversations we've had, from partnerships. But it's important for us to get real facts, real information, real scientific data, so that we can make decisions about how to move forward. You know, once construction starts and once these things are built, we're stuck with them for the next 25, 30 years, maybe more. We need to know those answers now before they're built. That is what this governing body is asking. I can tell you too, I know some people are very curious, there is a coastal coalition of mayors that is forming that is asking these same questions. You know, a lot of that has to do with the leadership of Congressman Andrew, the leadership of Senator Palestina, and the leadership of this governing body. People want to know the truth so we can make informed decisions about the future of our Earth. So if there's no further comments, Lynn, can we have roll call?
You? Yes. Lettieri?
Yes.
Haney?
Yes.
DeLucre? Kane?
Yes.
Reardon?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Next up, we have our consent agenda. We have our VFW post raffle license number, I apologize, raffle license number 990, St. Thomas raffle license number 991, Surf and Land Fishing Club tournament request, and Green Team Cherry Blossom Festival request. We have a motion second.
Make that motion.
Second.
Questions or comments? Seeing none, can we have roll call?
You? Yes. Lettieri?
Yes.
Haney?
Yes.
DeLucre? Kane?
Yes.
Reardon?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Next up, we have our council manager committee discussions. I'll turn it over to our deputy mayor.
Okay, first of all, I have some great news. Hot off the press today, Camp Brigantine is coming back this summer, 2023. It'll be back in full swing. Camp begins June 26th and runs through August 11th. It will be open to children entering first grade through sixth grades. For more information, this is going to be put on the school dojo. It is going to be on the city website, Facebook, on the CER Facebook form. You can stop by the community center to pick up one of these hot off the press little flyers, and I hope it's going to be a wonderful summer for all these kids. Thank you. My committee appointments, okay. All right, so we have our committee appointments for Recreation Committee. This year, we have 13 members being reappointed. We have Paul Amalfitano, Mike Stinson, Frank Burbridge, John Johnston, Ed Fitzgerald, Paul Kabala, Dennis Haney, myself, Karen Bew, Guy Pecora, Paul Danaher, Tom Rapici, Lauren Duran, Bill Hoffman Jr. They are all voting members. We have Bob Galbraith as a non-voting member. Jim Mogan is the advisor. Joe Urbanis is an honorary member, and Betsy Doherty is a non-voting member as well. For our golf course committee, oh, I'm sorry.
So we have a motion on the floor for the Recreation Commission. Is there a second? Questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passed.
All right, for our golf course committee, we had two positions that need to be reappointed. We have Scott Rote and Nancy Duran are being reappointed. And we also have Jocelyn Sharkey will be replacing Anita Lielli as the president of the Brigantine Women's Golf Association. Everybody else.
All right, we have a motion on the floor for the golf course committee. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, seeing none, motion passed.
And this year we changed our green team membership to now, we went from 15 voting members down to 7 voting members. And this year we have as voting members Jeanette Kessler, Karen Bew, Karen Geller, Donna Pekarski, Fran Pullen, Janet Lieberman, and Judy Starkey. Jeanette Kessler is the chairperson. I am the council representative, and our ex officio member is John Dory.
right, we have a motion on the floor for Brigantine. Is there a second?
Second.
Questions or comments? All right, seeing none. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, seeing none, motion passed. All right, we'll turn it over to Paul Lettieri.
I have the list now for this year's Municipal Alliance. Paul Robinson, Andy Grossman, John DiMatteo, Irene Brodsky, Joanne Cugliamo, myself, Ann Phillips, John Gans, Dawn Jones, Coordinator, Rosie Colony, Police Representative Jim Powderly, School Representative Christian Barron, School Alternate Lisa Glick, and Second School Alternate Glenn Robbins. That's the Municipal Alliance for 2023.
All right, motion on the floor for the Municipal Alliance. Is there a second? Second. Questions or comments? All right, seeing none. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, seeing none, motion passed.
I just want to say one more thing in passing. We started, over a year ago with the windmills, and we were against the unsightliness or even the need for it. And it wasn't so much the whales are now a very recent issue with them because of the testing. But when we talked about the windmills before, I have a close relative who was the vice president of an organization that buys and sells electric power. According to what he tells me, there is a glut in the state of New Jersey already with electric power being produced by the solar, but we can't use it fast enough. So PSE&G and Atlantic City Electric, they ship it up north to bigger areas like New York City where they can possibly use it, and they don't use it. So until they develop some sort of way to retain this energy that they produce, i.e. batteries, which again are a threat to the earth, they would have to have batteries big enough to store all this energy they're proposing to produce. So that's another way to look at it. Are we going to gain anything? We're certainly not going to gain by getting a smaller electric bill here in New Jersey, and especially people of Brigantine, my electric bill is going to go down. Absolutely not. If anything, it's going to be more expensive. But that's all I have to say. Thank you for your time. Thank you for showing up tonight.
Dennis? Yeah.
Clean Communities nominations. Co-chair, Joe Campitelli. These are the voting members, by the way. Charlie Miller, John Doring, James Doring, and Madison Dickerson. And also, just like that, John Doring is also co-chair and advisor. Non-voting members, Vince Serra, myself, Dennis Haney, Bill Varnish, Guido Battaglini, Ann Phelps, Melissa Hannon, Joseph Guglielmo, John DiMatteo Jr., and Dawn Jones. Junior members, Megan Baldwin and Erin Baldwin. And non-voting members, Bill Viola, Charles Gill, Jim Doring, Pat Orchard, and Janet Kessler.
We have a motion on the floor for Clean Communities. Is there a second? Second. Questions or comments? Seeing none. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passed.
Just to add to Paul's comments that these alternative sources of energy, they're not exactly, windmills included, wind turbines, they're not exactly grid friendly. Some of these problems we've seen over the years, especially with more and more as we're going to some of the green alternatives, they're not perfected by far, especially during these high demand times. We've had some very crucial grid problems during the summer usage particularly. I remember there was a very bad one out in Ohio and maybe a Texas area a few years back, but that's just one example. Moving on from that, that's fine. We have plenty of good things to say about a resolution there. So moving on, I just want to say the Brigantine Times this week. There was a week off, I guess, with Emmett being away, but Polar Bear Plunge, a lot of great pictures with everybody involved there. Mike knows, I'm sure Mike's going to want maybe speak about that a little bit. Some great pictures in there, just with all the people that supported, the volunteers, contributing, bringing it up to just about $1 million here, right there. Trish Cosgrove's right here. Thank you, Trish, and thank you everybody for everything. It's just great paging through that paper and just looking at everything and reading the stories. It's just really, it's awesome. It's just such a wonderful cause for Fisher Council. So thank you, everyone. The last thing I guess I just want to touch on is Stacy Papora passing away. What a sweetheart. They were very well. Knew the kids, being guy coached together, minor league ball, all-stars, baseball, minor league all-stars, and little league all-stars, and Brigantine Hockey League. We were adversaries there in families of ways, but we coached together. I was head coach there. The guy was assistant coach, I think, all 3 years we were there. And just seeing Stacy at all those events, totally supportive, and just the best parent you could ask for out there. Cheering the kids on, but never just so polite and well mannered. But they're at all her kids' events. Joey and Jake and young guy, the total gamers, those 3 boys, by the way, and little Gia, I remember when she was born. Simply wonderful. Really, she's really going to be missed. What a wonderful, beautiful family. She's just one of those people, our teachers there, and what pillars they are collectively for our whole community here. And it's just very sad to see Stacy leave us at such a 50 years of age. So, God bless. Rest in peace, Stacy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's go down to Rick Delivery.
Thank you. I'd like to ask for a vote to approve members of Beach Committee 2023. These are all returning members. I'm happy to get their defections. John tried. So members from council, Paul Lettieri and myself. Voting members, Christina Perry, Tony Saxon, Andy Grossman, Frank DeAngelis, Doris Sandler, Jay Ferreira, Joe Lama, Ryan First. Non-voting members, Mary Rosenberg, Fran Chambers, Danielle Smith, Angela Langford-Easy. Ex officio members, representing Public Works, Representing Police, Bill Hoffman, Fire Department, Tim Daly, save the best for last, Beach Patrol, Fran.
We have a motion on the floor for the Beach Committee. Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passed.
Related birthday wishes to yourself.
Thank you very much. We'll go down to Neil Kane.
So I am with the Garden Club. What an amazing group that is. The work that you're doing, it's all volunteer work about the spring and summer. Even carries in just remarkable. But we have some people that are going to be reappointed at a board. We have Laurel Lake, Pat Orchard, Graham Mills, Jan Sarator, and Phelps, Louise Grover, Lyle Resch, Anchor, the city, John Gordon, which I'm not kidding, really does about him. I'm just sprinkling things for myself,
We have a motion on the floor for the Brigantine Garden Club. Is there a second? Questions or comments? Seeing none. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, seeing none, motion passed.
Yeah, just saying, I'm a very close friends with Mark now. My son's best friends with their son. Again, I coached you guy with everything, and Stacy really was sweet. I'm not just saying it; she's very sweet. And it breaks my heart. But my prayers are with her. Just everybody says a prayer.
Mike Rear?
Thanks, Mayor. And say it before, but I want to say it now. I want to thank everybody. Chairperson. So, got a few vacancies, if anybody follows, it'll sit some small volunteer. And it's really what makes our island. I said, there's some charity organizations, interest in the community, cultural arts commission. Get in contact with my numbers on phone. Need me.
So we have a motion on the floor for the Cultural Arts Commission. Is there a second? Second. Questions or comments? All right, seeing none. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, seeing none, motion passed.
The Economic Development and Tourism Committee. Member, Chamber of Commerce President, Ray Handel. Chris Appleton on board. Jack Kelly, Mayor. Myself, Bill Manning, Angela Reynolds, John, Linda East, Person Mark, City Manager, Jim Bennett, John Dorf.
All right, we have a motion on the floor for the Economic Development and Tourism Committee. Is there a second?
Second.
Questions or comments? All right, seeing none. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, seeing none, motion passed.
Other than that, things we haven't talked about. Mentioned before, there's one change in that. Brigantine time to see some pictures in that. Sure said. Sure. Of course, that money goes to Fisher House, which helps our veterans get injured, their families stay somewhere, hotels, and so that's a great organization. There is talk already, believe it or not, about March and St. Patrick's Day coming up. We are looking at our third annual St. Patrick's Day Parade on Saturday, March 11th. So, just give a little heads up about that. So, that is the calendar. Other than that,
Cake party at your house afterwards? Mike?
yeah. And of course, like Neil and Dennis said, what happened this week with Stacy passing just touching the heartstrings. All been involved with youth sports here on the island. I didn't just coach with Joe. I won championships with Joe.
We won't go there.
That's a little. But anyway, the main thing is a beautiful family. I knew Guy's parents since he moved here. The Maxwell family is just fabulous. Robert Maxwell and sisters and brothers. That's why.
I'd like to extend my condolences to the family. The city's behind it. And it's been very, very tough on the school community. Stacy was someone who was very, very loved there. And it's hard. It's hard when you lose somebody who's such like a big staple in the community. It has such an impact on so many families. You can hear that sentiment echoed by so many council members here, by a lot of people here in the community. One of the things I wanted to come back to, in December, I said that we would be discussing in January the HVAC system here in our municipal complex and also as well as the library. One of the things that I've had conversations with our previous CFO is to look into how much money the city is spending on repairs of the HVAC system. HVAC system in our municipal complex here in City Hall and library is well past its life expectancy. And I think the HVAC system, or I don't even know if it's an HVAC system, the heating and cooling system, we'll call it, in the police station is original. Like original. Over the last 3 years, and that's what I've asked for, over the last 3 years, the city of Brigantine has spent $265,512.90 on repairs. That don't make sense. I think we're at about a time we need to pull the trigger and actually replace it. We can't keep throwing good money after that. One of the things that I want council to consider is, one, how much money we spent over the last 3 years. And I think that we should have a professional come in and do a survey of the system so we can look at what the costs are in order to replace the system. I'm going to tell you, in my mind, it makes sense to replace the system, not keep spending money on repairs. And if council's okay with that, I would like to authorize the manager and our superintendent of public works to get that information and bring it back to council next meeting so we can. Does that sound good to everybody?
Is it necessary to pay somebody to tell us we need it?
So I think what you want to do is have, I believe it's a mechanical engineer, you want them to come in and make an evaluation of where we are and probably what the city needs. And once we have an idea of what the city needs, we can start to make those costs. So I think we need to have all that to make a decision. Because we can see by the numbers of the repairs, it's shot.
We know we need it.
Yeah, so I think that person will also, they're not going to come and say, yeah, you need the system. They're going to say, this is our recommendation for what you guys. It's not like yeah. All right, so let's have that information prepared for the next meeting. All right, this time I know there's, well, one, I want to thank everybody for coming out here tonight. I'm sure there's a lot of people who would like to make comments from the community. So we will open the public comments. Anybody wishing to be heard on any issue, please come up, state your name and address for the record.
Mr. Mayor, first of all, thank you. And I want to just introduce our persons of action. And founding members together and basically friends. In 1 month, we have 12 friends. What that tells you is that there is not many people that know what's going on in this community, let alone you name it. Okay. Atlantic Shores and Orsted were words that were never mentioned. And now they're becoming known, and they've done an excellent job in my because they know that there are critical issues with regard to these like you mentioned, this isn't an issue of whether or not this is an issue of they know they're going to kill hundreds of maps out there through their acoustic blasting, which they do for seismic mapping, and the pneumatic blasting that they do when they drive the piles into the ocean floor. As you all know, water magnifies sound. So for them to put together these estimates on takes, which is meaning killing creatures, is just ludicrous. So I think that's something, Rick, to your point, we need to do an analysis. I suggest take a look at research that Atlantic Shores and Orsted have put together with regard to calculations they did on okay, this isn't a random, this is going to happen. They already know and got a rubber stamp proof. And anyone in their right mind who is interested in this thing. So I think it's important that we stay ahead of this game. I'll be a little more draconian. There's billions and billions of dollars. Okay, they're putting up windmills that have never been manufactured before. There's been little or no testing. These things that have been here. There's economic damages, ecological damages, in life, let alone what else happens. So I hope you all stay on top of this, look for support from other organizations. We've been involved with Save Island, Stern. We will team up with them. We've got a 501c being put in place. So it's funding. I believe we're going to have this thing stop. Just negotiate position so that we can either move this out to 40 miles and put them out of sight and out of. I really would love to see the whole thing go away. It's got too much our fee and plan. So thank you for your.
And Keith, I'd like to thank you and everybody from the 10 Brigantine Beach for all you've done to help raise awareness here in our community. It's very much appreciated.
Nancy Pino and 221 14th Street North. I wasn't going to speak tonight, but I just wanted to address something Stevens said. He insinuated that the unusual mortality event for the whales at 2016 there were no. Sorry, this helps. That the unusual mortality event occurred. There was no offshore wind activity from 2016, and that's just incorrect. There's a reporter for the Syracuse Times, Bonnie Brady, who's very active in fishing industry, and she's pulled the receipts. And the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management and NOAA themselves issued tapes in 2015 and in 2016. And there actually were surveys done that were completed in August of 2016. So there was offshore wind activity on the East Coast dating from 2015 at least. So when you say that 2016 predates any kind of offshore wind, that's just not correct. So the other thing I wanted to address, I think you insinuated that the survey boats aren't out here and haven't been active here. You can track them. There are people we have that are on websites tracking the boats. And like Paul Lettieri said, Councilman Lettieri said, they're out there and they're going back and forth, and that's not a question. So I can email you if you'd like the actual NOAA and BOEM take authorizations and the paperwork I have if you're interested. Okay, so I just wanted to address it. Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate everything you did tonight.
Thank you.
So Matt Finnegan from 107 24th Street. First thing, we need another resolution, guys. Go Eagles. We need to beat the Giants. All right. I just want to tell you that we've been doing a lot of research, and this team is unbelievable. I work most of the time, but I saw this today, and it just defined the reality of the whole thing. And this is a lawsuit from Earth Justice of all folks. They are not serving, just so you know. If a whale or dolphin can't hear, it can't survive, said their attorney, the Earth Justice attorney, who brought the initial challenge and lawsuit against the Navy's round of training and testing on behalf of several groups. The Navy was testing their sonar equipment. And this group sued them. By agreeing to the settlement, the Navy acknowledged that it doesn't need to train every square inch of the ocean, so the Navy moved their sonar testing to an area where it didn't affect the whales. But the bottom line is this is basic data. This is from 2015. This is new data. So the data's out there. And we have people joining our group every day that know a lot more than we know about this. But we just want to inform you and let you know what we're finding, because it's just unbelievable to me how much information is there. So it's there. We know what's happening. They got on and say, oh, we don't know what's happening to the whales. I mean, it's just yes. We have to come back with a logical, fundamental approach, and we need these environmental firms to help us. They're there, they want to help, but you know what they want. They want our money. You know? And if we have to pay to defend ourselves, I don't know if there's anybody in the city that's not willing, once they're educated about this, to help us. Thanks again for your time. Go Eagles.
All right, go Eagles.
Hi, I'm Hannah Marshall, one share. Um, One thing I just wanted to add is my perspective as a person here. Like, I've grown up every summer I was that's here. And like you talk about city effective for the next 20 years, that's the rest of my lifetime here, if that. And so that's one perspective, and also like, I mean, I've also grown up with knowledge that climate change is imminent, it's a great threat to our world. But I also know, and we're learning in more recent years, that the cause of climate change is not full understanding of people how that's viewed is. So if we're trying to jump on this new train, wind energy without fully understanding that either, and whether or not that is sustainable for other important ecosystems such as that ocean, then I feel like we're missing the whole point.
Thank you very much for your comments. Yeah, exactly.
Good evening. My name is Suzanne Moore, and I live at 26th Street, across from Mr. Haynes. Good to see you. I wanted to bring up a few points, and I realize, I hear frustration from a lot of you on City Council, and I think a lot of the citizens of Brigantine are also very frustrated because there's no communication. We have no communication from Boeing. Have they ever been here? Have they ever asked to have a meeting with the community to give us information on these projects or to tell us what they're doing to protect us from the companies and making them accountable? And we're left holding the bag and doing all the research. And we're not PhDs or energy insiders. So it takes us 3 times as long to do the research that they could come and tell us themselves. But no, we're just left to do it all. The lack of transparency is just amazing, and the lack of information to try to find things on their website is just super frustrating. So I don't, as I said, I feel you're frustrated, maybe for not the same reasons as many of the citizens are, but there is this mounting frustration, and I'm glad that many of you spoke out tonight about your concerns, because we have the same concerns. We talk about the wind developers, and I watched one of their presentations that they had online, and they had the audacity, one of the directors had the audacity to say that the citizens of Brigantine, this is Atlantic Shores, would have the benefit of seeing where their energy came from once the windmills were up. I mean, that's just disrespectful. I mean, do they really think that that is a benefit to the citizens of Brigantine? So, we're not going to get any straight answers from there either, based on the comment, that one comment, and many more that were made in the 2 videos that they watched, that I watched on their website. And lastly, I want to thank you for the resolution that you passed and the statements that you made tonight. And as you know, my husband and I and those back here are all heavily involved in the Defend Brigantine Beach organization. And we want to help you achieve your goals in regard to these projects. I mean, I've always felt that way with elected officials. I've worked with many elected officials in my career, and it was my job to make them shine and to achieve their goals. So if there's anything that we can do to help you achieve your goals in regard to these projects, please let us know. And, we'll be attending these meetings. We want to stay in contact. I know, last month, a committee, you approved a committee and there were names, and I don't know if there is a liaison on that committee that can work with us so that we're not duplicating efforts. We've done an incredible job in growing our organization and achieving many goals that we had set out in the last month. We're still trying to develop a website. We're lacking in some technical skills. So if you have any friends or relatives that would like to join our organization that have technical skills, marketing skills, any kind of volunteer work, we would be happy to accept them into our organization. So please keep that in mind. You also said, Mayor, that you were you were participating in this coastal coalition. So we look forward to hearing how that proceeds as well.
Yeah, we'll have more publicly on that soon. We're just getting confirmation from the mayors to make sure that they publicly want to engage.
Okay, great. Very good. Well, that's everything I have to say. Again, thank you very much.
Perfect, thank you.
Suzanne, can I just say one thing? I'm just so happy to see what you're all doing. And I didn't realize the size of the group at this stage already, 1,300 members. That's amazing. And another thing that's amazing is that a lot of people don't realize the size of these windmills, which the mayor has said numerous times already. 1,000 to 1,400 feet high, the size of the Empire State Building or the Eiffel Tower. The Ocean Towers, the Ocean Casino is 700 feet high. I mean, people say, oh, those windows, I thought they were the same size as the ones out on the White Horse Pike that are 365 feet high. If you stand at the street end at the lighthouse there, that's approximately 3 miles to those windmills. So if you go 3 times farther out, 9 miles and 3 times as high, that's about the visibility. That's what you're going to see. That's how big they're large. They're going to loom on the horizon. So, that's one thing that I find people don't realize. They're like, really? I actually spoke with ex-Governor Corzine at the League of Municipalities. I had an opportunity to talk to him for a few minutes. And I brought it to his attention because he was talking about clean energy and this and that. And I asked, do you realize the size of these and what's going on out there that being signed off on executive order by your buddy? 3 executive orders, no talk, no discussion, no legislative talk at all about this. Just ram it right through. And he, well, no, I didn't realize that. I didn't realize how big they were. I said,
Go ahead, Tom.
Everybody, I think you all know me by now. I'm Jones. In our valiant efforts so far to get the word out to Brigantiners, I was wondering, would it be possible to get a list of second homeowners who I believe are totally unaware of this? I did speak with many, especially new second homeowners this past summer. And my first question to them is always, well, do you live here now? Is this your house? Do you live here? No, it's our second home. So I believe there's lots of other Brigantine property owners, let's call them, who don't know anything about this and probably sunk a boatload of money into a brand new house so that they can enjoy our beloved beach. And for them to come here this summer or next summer and see them all of a sudden out of the blue, I would flip. That was me. So is it possible to get a list like that, or somehow somebody send out a blast, single statement, please look at Brigantine Beach on Facebook, and then they can catch up on all of our information that's constantly updated. That would be possible.
So I think probably the best thing would be to talk to the city manager tomorrow to see if it's possible for us to get that information out. but I think the most we have is like names and addresses, but we have to see if that's operable or available to share it. So if you could reach out to the city manager tomorrow, he could probably give you better direction. And then, Tom, can we just have, you gave your street, but I don't think you gave your house number. We just need your address for the record. Tilly, thank you.
Yes.
Appreciate it. Yes, Mr. Phillips. Sorry, Tom. Go ahead.
Has there been any update on whether we're going to have a lawsuit or not?
We're still looking into all legal options right now. I know that your group is looking to see what you can coordinate with Bob Stearns, so we are looking into that stuff.
This new coalition, what do you call it?
It's Coastal Coalition of Mayors, and that's something, once the group is officially up and formed, that's something we can discuss.
So would that be, say, another lawsuit?
So we're looking at the options. I can't speak for all the mayors. It's in the very beginning stage, but I think once we have that, we can look at a number of different options to see how we proceed. Thank you. You're welcome. Yes, Mr. Phillips.
N.H. Phillips, 308 27th Street. Just a quick question. You have discussed this before, but now that we have a speaker in the House of Representatives, will you be able to arrange a meeting with Congressman Van Drew and perhaps Senator Palestina and hold it in perhaps a school auditorium, because you want to reach out to all the people, Absecon Island, Brigantine, and North. And now that the whales have, in a sense, sacrificed themselves by, what has happened to them, perhaps there is something good to come from this, and that is publicity given to this topic, I think is helping to educate a lot of people who aren't aware of what's going on. But when you think of what could be placed within our view on our shores, it's a desecration of what we have here in terms of beauty, and it's just a wonderful place to live and visit. So you will be, I'm assuming, trying to work something out, because we need somebody on a high level, I think, to get more involved in this. We're here and we're just, not a very large group, and this is a lot of money behind this. And I think by supporting the resolution this evening, you put Ventnor and Margate to shame, because they came forward with payments, and it appears obvious. You can call it whatever you want, but they got what they paid for. And I think that's a shame. And probably a lot of people down beach who are not aware of what's going on either. And that's been one of the problems here. Van Drew used the term ramming this through, and that's what they have done. And they're powerful, and they have pockets that have no bottom, and they can spread it around. So we'll do what we can, but I would just, you had talked about it, so I presume that's what you will be trying to arrange.
Yeah,
Thank
we're
you.
working out those details now. One of the things we're really trying to do is make sure we can hold it on a Saturday so that our second homeowners can be present. And we're just trying to work out, get confirmation from the congressman right now to make sure it works in his schedule. And then we'll reach out to Senator Palestine to make sure it works in his schedule so we can have both of them there in attendance.
Mr. Jones had a good idea, because at least, 70% of our properties, residential properties, are owned by second homeowners who probably are totally unaware of what's going on here. So they need to be notified. Excuse me. So at any rate, thank you.
Perfect word, Mrs. Phillips. You said it was a desecration. It's a desecration. I could not agree with you more. I mean, so many of us are down there with our families, by ourselves. I love we all love the shore. I don't know anyone of my friends growing up who didn't like the shore. When the time I was a little kid going down like Cape May and the Wildwoods and moving down here in 80. And I have no idea how many miles I've logged on that beach. I love running on the beach. I haven't the issue right now. I haven't been able to do it lately, but
One other thing.
pardon me, to look out that horizon and just how beautiful it looks. To have a bunch of windmills all of a sudden sticking up, like it is like in your face kind of stuff. They're trying to.
Well, I
do
think
here. It's
that's a good
disgusting.
expression, in your
It really
face.
is.
But one other thing, and I refer to the comment by Councilman Lettieri, and this is the question of need. how much power is needed here? Do we have too much? Is it being exported to other areas? That has not been, to my knowledge, I haven't read any figures on this. And also, what other sources of power are available and being explored and weren't explored? And in one case in particular, it's nuclear. But I think that Mr. Lettieri raised the issue of where is this power going? Whose view and whose bills will be increased, but the power will not be used in this. And where's this power going? I think it's a question that has not been answered, not even asked, perhaps. So, thank you for raising that.
Any other comments? I see no more public comments. We're going to close the public portion. Any final council comments? Well, I'd like to personally thank everybody for coming out tonight. I'd like to thank everyone for their comments. There's a lot of great insight. You know, and this is how government's supposed to work. There's a partnership between your governing body and the people of the community in order to try to make things work. So thank you all for being here tonight. If there's no further council comments, can we have a motion to adjourn?
Make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, seeing none, motion adjourned. I'd like to thank everybody for joining us.